with the launch of the first Descendant around the corner, July 2nd to be exact, I figured that I would analyze the first Descendants that you can get, and basically their build kits, because it's all on the website, thefirstdescendant.com. So if you want to have a read of this yourself, you can do that. Just go on the website. So my accurate description of this game is as follows. First Descendant is going to be a third-person shared world looter shooter. It will be something similar to Warframe. That's the game that's going to be sort of, it's mainly competing with. It's going to be the most similar to that. Now, it's going to be free to play, which means there's going to be a battle pass. It means there's going to be some cosmetics that you can buy, etc., naturally speaking. But yeah, we don't know everything about how it's going to be monetized yet, but I'm not going to sort of comment on that in this video. I just want to talk about the first Descendants and their build kits, their passive skills, and the skills that they can use, and what you might want to choose as your first Descendant, because I think it's going to be quite important which one you choose at the first part, because it's going to be a numerous amount of hours before you get your next one, and then your next one, and then your next one. It could be a while. So ultimately, they've said they want players to get all of the Descendants, yeah. But this video is going to focus on what would you want to go with first, and basically just looking at them all, like what they all do. So if we just come to game info here, character, then you'll see them all. So you've got all these. You've also got ultimate variants of the standard. So like Warframe, very similar. You've got Warframes that are normal, and you've got Prime Warframes. It'd be something similar to that system, where if you get the Prime variant or the Ultimate variant, there's some additional things that go on with that, which I'm not going to sort of cover too much in this video, but I want to cover just the standards, the standard Descendants, and what would appeal to you. So first we've got Lepic. So Lepic is an AoE dealer. He's a soldier-like character. His passive skill is this. There is a chance of surviving fatal damage during battle. Active skills are as follows. Grenade. Throw a grenade forward at the enemy. To note, extra burns when overclock is active. The next active skill, overclock. Increase this skill attack and adds a burn effect to grenade and overkill for a set duration. Next active skill, traction grenade. Throws a traction grenade forward to pull enemies within range. And Lepic's ultimate is called overkill. Fires a powerful shell at the enemy. The shell is maintained at the landing point for a set period of time, inflicting constant damage. To note, extra burns when overclock is active. So, in a build like this, you want to look at, is there any playback loops? And there is. Overclock. Everything starts with an overclock. Then you start to use other abilities. So you could use your traction grenade to pull all the enemies in, then throw a grenade to get extra burn damage while overclock is active, then use an ultimate at some point. And it's got some sort of like second life system built into it. So if you want to, if Lepic is one of the starter classes you choose, it may well be good, but it later down the line looks to be a better class than this that does the same job but just better. By the sounds of the descriptions, I don't know that for certain, but Lepic looks okay. As you start a class, you know, the ultimate does look good. I've saw it being used on a video. It does look good, but that's what Lepic's all about. Second class. This is your Titan class. This is your tank dealer. Passive skill. The ability to store void energy during battle. Active skills. Orbit barrier. Creates a shield in front of Ajax. Durability increases proportionally to Ajax's HP and defense. To note, if enhanced, reflects damage proportional to defense to enemies hitting the barrier. Next one, Void Walk. Leaps into the air and lands on the ground to strike at nearby enemies, stunning them. If enhanced, max shield increases for a certain period of time. Next one, Explosion. Strikes nearby enemies, knocking them back. If enhanced, knockback range and max shield are increased. Ultimate, via the Ajax. Creates a dome-shaped shield, durability increased proportionally to Ajax's HP and defense. To note, if enhanced, reflects damage proportional to defense to enemies hitting the barrier. So this is your Titan class of the first Descendant. You're able to get a bubble like in Destiny 2 on a Titan. The difference here is that you can shoot out of the bubble, you can shoot out of the hypercube to other enemies. Absolutely OP. I played a bit of Ajax in the beta last time and I had a lot of fun with it. And there's some playback loop regarding the void energy thing. which I don't know the exact specifics about. The barrier is a really good one. It's similar, as I say, as a D2 Titan, where you pop a barrier. Same thing as that. But again, you can shoot through the barrier, I believe. So, yeah, this is looking good. Ajax is probably going to be my starter class, maybe. We'll see, but probably. Viessa, debuffer. So, in a game like this, you've got buff, where you buff your character. You're helping your character get stronger. And a debuff is to debuff enemies. That's the role of this build. If you're into ice in video games, where you like ice stuff, then this is for you. Passive skill, Ice Sphere. Condenses moisture in the atmosphere around the nucleus circle and around the body, lowering the temperature. Frost shards. Fires an exploding ice beam inflicting damage in the area around enemies and inflicting ice shackle. The key verb on this is ice shackle. Ice shackle effect increases by 2 stages when hit, increases by 1 stage if hit by the exploding area. So if you get a direct hit, it's 2 stages. Right? Frost road. Now this is good. This sounds like a frost bunny. Read it. Increases running speed and shield and creates the ice sheets on the ground where Viessa stands. When enemies come into contact with those ice sheets, they are inflicted with an ice shackle. Ice shackle effect increases by 2 stages. So you can run around the enemies and shackle them with ice. Sounds absolutely brilliant. Next one, Ice Wave. Releases an arc cold air in front, inflicting damage and ice shackle. Again, playing into ice shackle builds. Ultimate for Viessa. Cold Snap creates a snowstorm that explodes over time, inflicting damage and ice shackle on enemies caught within. To note, ice shackle effect increases by 3 stages when hit, increased by 4 stages if hit by the exploding area. So you can go all the way up to 4 apparently via the description, and that's the ultimate. So Viessa is sounding like an ice bunny to me, that you're just being able to freeze everything. If you're into sort of freezing enemies and controlling them, then this is going to be a class, honestly. Next class, Jaybear, Utility Dealer. So Utility Dealer is generally like, things that can help aid you in battle, that you can summon stuff. This is like a summoner class, but in the realm of First Descendant, it's a summon class that can summon turrets. Passive skill, Turret Sync. Attack increases when Assault Turret and Medical Turret are both summoned. So the attack stat in the game for your character will increase when these conditions are met. Assault Turret. Summons an assault turret to attack the enemy if enhanced. It launches attacks into nearby area. Medical turret. Summons a medical turret to heal allies and distract enemies. Distract enemies as well. If enhanced, it restores mana. Changes gun to a multi-purpose gun if hit by a multi-purpose gun. Turret enters an enhanced state. Reactivate. This is the ultimate of this class. Recalls all summoned turrets and inflicts powerful damage to nearby enemies after using total recall. You enter overhaul state, key verb, where the turrets are summoned in their enhanced states. Sounds absolutely turret mania basically on that. But what it is if you enhance this, you'll get mana back to therefore have more turrets. Yeah, so there's a playback loop. I can see it forming here in the description. So, yeah, it's not a class I'm going to go with first because I never go with summoner type classes in games like this. I think that's a personality thing. So we've all got different personalities. Some people like the tank class. Some people like the up close and personal classes. It's all personality really, isn't it? And obviously there's a bit of meta sprinkled in there as well. But we won't know the meta until the actual game comes out properly. Sharen. So it's a close range dealer for damage. So it's up close and personal, high damage, high risk. So passive skill for this class. It's all about electric, by the way. So it's basically our electric class. Damage increases when it attacks an enemy that is not attacking Sharen. Killing enemies with a skill in ambush state resets cooldown for active camo. Active skill 1, Cutoff Beam. Attacks enemies with electric blade to deal damage and inflict them with electrocute effect. Next key verb, electrocute effect. Active Camo. Hides from enemies when attacking or using skills. Active camouflage state ends immediately regardless of time remaining. When active camouflage state ends, Sharen enters ambush mode, increasing damage of the next attack. Keyword ambush mode is stacking with what we said the passive skill was earlier. Impact rounds. Launches built-in explosives forward from arm to stun enemies. So you might want to do that first, then do all this stuff, right? Because they're going to be stunned, and then you can then do a sort of playback loop and get increased damage because they're not attacking you because you've stunned them. See the playback loop? You can sort of see it. Ultimate, flash short sword. Targets enemies within aim and range and throws multiple knives to attack them. Knives explode to enemies within damage and electrocute effect. I think I've seen this on one of the videos and it looked insane how it sort of homed all the knives in on the enemies. A very interesting super. And again, you'll want all these buffs, then you'll do it. Yeah? So we'll have to see how all that works. But if you're into sort of an electric class, up close and personal, then this will be the class that you choose. So Gley, utility dealer, it should just say buff dealer. Right, it's a big buff character. This seems to be the best big buff character I see in this game. So passive skill, first. Defeated enemies drop life spheres. Obtaining life spheres restores HP and a stack of power of life. So it is all about getting your HP back. And it's via a passive skill. You don't need to proc it. It just happens. Active skills. Frenzied. Consumes HP to enter Berserk mode. In Berserk mode, long distance weapon attacks and penetration is increased. 2 keywords, attack and penetration. So, Berserk mode. Let's read on though before we give an analysis. Deals damage to nearby enemies and restores HP. In Berserk mode, damage increases. In normal mode, damage inflicted by enemies decreases for a certain period of time. So you get more tanky with that. And you get health back. Because you're like a devourer, you're like a vampire type class where you're getting HP back and then you're dealing damage out. Increased sensory. Creates an area with a special effect. In Berserk mode, bullets are not consumed within the area. In normal mode, HP is restored within the area. Ultimate, Massacre. Switches gun to Nosferatu. In Berserk mode, skill damage increases. In normal mode, attacked enemies are stunned. So this will be the exotic for this class or the best gun to use with this class. But what it's saying is it switches to that gun and then it does all this stuff that it's saying. So there's a lot of playback loop here because like this class is all about using HP to get the Berserk buff and then using other abilities to get your HP back up to then get back into the Berserk mode and then to use things like increased sensory, you know, all this sort of stuff. So this is your big buff dealer against big bosses in the game. Honestly, this just sounds like the best at the minute in terms of like big buff dealer. So we'll have to see how it is when the game launches. But yeah, it sounds insane. It does. Damage over time dealer, Blair. So this is like your solar class, but it does dot damage as well. Passive skill. Critical hit damage increases when attacking enemies in burn state. Critical hit chance increases depending on the number of stoves in the battlefield. Notice the keywords critical hit damage and stoves. Yeah. Active skill 1. Blaze up. Spurts flames to deal damage to nearby enemies and creates stove. Stove inflicts constant damage and burn effect to nearby enemies. Active skill 2. Extinguish. Retrieves stoves on the battlefield and restores mana. Retrieving stores increases defense for a short period of time. Active skill 3. Burn taste. Spurts flame forward. Enemies near the flames arrival point are inflicted with constant damage and burn effect. Ultimate for Blair is Deadly Cuisine. Throws a large fireball forward. Large fireball splits into small fireballs, causing extra explosions. Explosion damage inflicts burn effect and creates stoves on the ground. Stove deals constant damage to nearby enemies and inflicts them with the burn effect. So this class sounds the better version of Lepic, because Lepic was a AoE dealer, and this class is sort of AoE plus damage over time. It's both. Reading the descriptions of everything that it says, and there's a playback loop because look, you get your mana back when you retrieve your stoves. So you're gonna have loads of stoves on the battleground with all your abilities. You can then call them back to get mana, thus repeating the process of everything that you just did. It just sounds really good. Right, next class, Bunny, Nuker. So that just means, you know, you're nuking the battlefield basically. So passive skill, Rabbit Foot. Charges electricity by moving around. Landing on the ground after double jump inflicts damage to nearby enemies. A very good passive. So, active skill 1, Frill Bomb. Summons electric orb to nearby enemies and inflict them with the electrocute effect. Keyword, electrocute effect. Light speeding. This is the trademark skill for Bunny. Increases sprint speed and the amount of electricity obtained. So, lightning emission. Moving around does damage to nearby enemies and inflicts them with electrocute effect. The ultimate skill for Bunny. Maximum power. Shoots out electricity moving forward to inflict damage. Damage increases proportion to skill duration. So there's a lot to break down with this. So essentially what you want to do is proc lightning emission, right? And then proc your light speeding and then just run around and then you'll electrocute everything. That's what I'm getting from this. The ultimate is similar akin to the Destiny 2 Chaos Reach super, right? Where it does arc energy from your hand. If this does massive damage to bosses, then it's going to be so fun. Bunny playstyle is fun in the game. I have played it briefly, not for long, but I did. And like I say, the passive skill is really good. So Bunny's a fan favourite, and a lot of people are going to be playing Bunny. I will be as well. A lot of people will start as Bunny if you can. I don't know if you can or not. But look, if you're into fast classes, this is the class for this game. It's going to be exciting. Next class, Freyna. Remember Blair, the DOT dealer? Well, this is competition for Blair. So, passive skill. Damage increases when attacking enemies poisoned by Freyna's skill. So, your damage will improve when you poison enemies. Boom. So good. So simple, but yet so good because it's going to play and feed back into all these skills. Skill 1, Toxic Trauma. Throws poison to attack enemy with damage and inflict room 0 trauma onto nearby enemies. Notice the keyword room 0 trauma. Defense mechanism. Significantly increases defense. There is a chance of inflicting room 0 trauma to enemies upon attack. Decomposed poison. Now this is a lot to take in. Froze poison to create a poison swamp. Enemies entering the poison swamp are inflicted with constant damage and poisoned. Footprint state. When enemies in poison footprint state walk around, they create footprints that poison other enemies. So I'm getting Osteostrigger vibes from Destiny 2, where you kill enemies with poison and it spreads out to other enemies. This is exactly that, basically. But, you know, so once they step into that poison stuff, they're going to get infected by the poison. And then this enemy, so it's going to be like really good and clear. Plus you're going to get the damage over time on bosses. But on top of that, you could proc defense mechanism so that you get inflicting room 0 trauma on all the enemies. Then you proc this, then you're going to get room 0 trauma plus poison. I think that's how that interaction is going to work, but that's that. Then finally, the ultimate for Freyna is Venomous Baptism. Switches gun to Dead Room. Dead Room must be the star weapon for this class. Enemies hit by Dead Room are inflicted with room 0 trauma, therefore playing into everything about this. So this class sounds maybe slightly better than Blair, but I don't know that for certain. But it does sound slightly better because there's a little bit more, although Blair's good as well with what it had with the mana and stuff and the stoves, so we'll have to see. So you've got your ultimate versions, as I said at the start of the video. I'm not going to go into these too much, but you've got your ultimate versions and there'll be some brought out steadily over the course of the game. But yeah, I'm just covering the standards at the minute. So Valby's your water class. It's AoE dealer and it's your water class. So passive skill is this. When using skills, when standing on the water, she consumes less mana, therefore a better feedback play loop. Yeah? Active skill 1, Bubble Bullet. Bounces a bubble bullet forward to create a small puddle where the bubble bullet impacts and where she stands. Enemies in the small puddle take continuous damage and are afflicted with laundry. Keyword laundry. Plop Plop. Creates a large puddle where she's standing, then dives in. Valby then pops out at a selected location in the large puddle. Enemies in the large puddle take continuous damage and are afflicted with laundry. Active skill 3, laundry, actually. Valby becomes liquefied. While liquefied, she cannot take her feet off the ground or use skills, but she can move through enemies and her movement, speed and defense increase. When moving while she is liquefied, she creates a path of water that deals continuous damage to enemies and inflicts laundry. So, ultimate for Valby, Laundry Bomb. Charges the equipped weapon to the Laundry Bomb launcher, the signature weapon for this class, I would imagine. When the launcher is fired, a laundry bomb is created, pulling in enemies inflicted with laundry and dealing continuous damage. There's a lot to unpack with that. That's your water class. I won't be picking this first, if I'm being honest. This will be one of the later Descendants that I choose, just because I'm unsure on how effective all this water stuff's going to be. There sounds to be a lot of good stuff in there, but I'm aiming towards something else when I pick my starter Descendants. Kyle, role tanker. So this is an advanced version of Ajax, in my opinion, without the bubble. That's how I feel about it, and I think this is the most exciting class in the game that looks even more exciting than Bunny for me. Again, it's personality reasons. So passive skill, obtains magnetic force with his skills. When his shield is broken, he recovers shield and magnetic force. So notice keywords magnetic force and shield. Active skill 1. Remember, that procs on every single skill usage, this passive. So good. Repulsion dash. Charges towards the enemy dealing damage. How much damage? If it's good, then it's good. Magnetic bulwark. Creates frontal barrier to protect against enemy attacks. Same as what the frontal barrier is for Ajax, just maybe something similar to that basically. Active skill. Magnetism spurt. When damaged, magnetic force is reduced instead of HP or shield. After a certain period of time, magnetic force detonates to deal damage around him. Superconductivity thrusters, the ultimate for Kyle. Allows him to fly when landing, deals damage in an area around his landing zone. This is the closest thing to Anthem that we've had in any game, basically. So this is like Anthem. You're going to fly, but it's just for a short period of time, and then you're going to slam on an enemy. I've seen footage of this, and it just looks so good, honestly. So there's a lot of playback loop with this, like with the passive linking into all this stuff, and then you take damage and then smack it back, basically, to other enemies. Like, what's the radius of this? Is it quite a lot? If it is, it's quite useful. If it's quite short radius, it might not be, that good. We'd have to see directly, but I'm very interested in Kyle because of all this stuff. You've got Ultimate Viessa. I'm not going to go through that. Again, I've already mentioned about the Ultimate classes, and then we're back to Lepic. So that's all your characters for First Descendant. That's breaking them down at a face value approach without me actually playing all these. So you can make up your mind what's going to be your favorite and sort of go like levitate towards that when the game comes out and try and aim to get that Descendant. But yeah, that's all the information on that. This channel is just basically analysis of games that have like an end game. So you'll see me cover games that have a end game or a endless end game. First Descendant has that. Your Warframes have that. All your sort of looter shooters, which there's more to come out over the next year or two. So that's what this channel is it's going to be end game analysis on games that have an endless end game. That is basically it. So I hope you enjoy the video. Make sure you hit subscribe, as this is a brand new channel. So if you want to get on board, then you can. Appreciate it. But that was a video on this. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.